In this video we will look at the process to create a file. So we will create our first file by clicking on New File. We can select the file type. So let's say it's litigation, file reference. We don't dictate how your file references should look, so you can continue with your current file reference system. The only limitation is it should be at least 4 characters in length. You can add your file description. You can allocate this file to a team, and if it's a new file where there is not an existing OneDrive folder for that file, you can create a new OneDrive folder. I'm not going to do it at this stage so that we can later show how you link existing folders to this file. You can select your practice area, you can select your court, you can also select the division, case number, court date. Let's say we are in court next year, January the 20th. We have our instruction date, prescription date you can add if you want to, and litigation stage. We are in trial preparation, and for internal purposes you can select the risk, priority or value of the file. You can also add up to 20 custom fields for this file should you want to save any further information that is not already provided for in this form, and submit. The file is created. So if you click on the file, you get all the file details, you get the litigation details. Under parties you can link a client to this file, so we will link this previously created client. We can say is the sole plaintiff, and that client is now linked. Everything in nov8law is hyperlinked as far as possible, so if you click on the client's name it will take you to this client's profile, and if it is linked to a file, there will also be a tab on the top to show you the list of files that this client is linked to. You can click on the file and it will open that file again. Under agenda you will have all your events for this file, also tasks and emails. You will get this warning if there is not already a OneDrive folder linked or created for this file. The same with documents. Notes, you can link personal or team notebooks. This is based on OneNote, but I'm not a particular fan of OneNote, so I've added the option to disable OneNote completely for any file. There's a simple notes feature where you can just add a new note with a title. You can add a description if you want to. You can select whether anyone can edit the file and or if anyone can delete the file. You can tag users to this note and you can add your note. You can save it and you can then access the note from there. You can also pin this note and it will remain at the top, so for important notes pin it at the top and it will remain there. You can also edit the note or you can delete the note. And you also have a fee log for every file, and you can also select the default fee scale for this particular file. And once you select a fee scale, you will be prompted with the question whether you want to apply that default fee scale for all users or for you only. Let's select all users. Just for information purposes, the system fee scale will be kept in line with the High Court party and party tariffs, and you can add, let's say we peruse documents, pages, 20 pages, the total fee is automatically calculated, and you can add a description. There is an option to exclude it from the target. We will get to targets later on, but disbursements can also be logged on the fee log, and that will be excluded from the target. Once you log the fee, it will be added to the table below, and you can see your total logged fees for the period. That is the period on the top, and also if there are any unbilled items, it will also show you the unbilled. And if you click on the unbilled, it will automatically filter the dates to all the unbilled items, and also select under item all the unbilled items. So if we add a fee, for example, last year, let's make it November the 12th, time, hour, 2 hours, consultation, and we log that fee. By default, if we go to fees, we can see that the total for the period is 1680. That is for the past month, but the total unbilled is 5016. If we click on the 5016, it will automatically apply the filter, and you can now decide whether you want to sort it from newest to oldest or from oldest to newest. And from here you can export this fee log as a PDF, CSV or Excel. If we export it as a PDF, you can select whether you want to download it or save it to OneDrive. Let's open that, and you will see that there's the firm logo, the firm name, file reference and description, and also the date range for the fees. All the items are listed together with the total. So this is very useful if you want to just send a one-liner invoice to a client to say, see detailed fee breakdown attached, and you just invoice them for this total amount, and you attach this fee log to your invoice. If you have not created a OneDrive folder for this file, when you created the file, you can create a new folder, and then under emails you can add, for example, client correspondence, and under documents you will see that the folder name is already there, and all that did was create a new folder under the demo team, and there's the folder. To link a personal folder to a file, you can simply right click on the folder and say link to file, select the file and click on link. Now if we go, let's do the emails as well. While we are at it, we can add a new subfolder. We can right click on the folder, link to file, select the file and link. You will see that a few emails came in since we last registered the client. The user that initiated the invite for the client profile will receive an email once that client profile is registered with basic details as well as a link to the client profile. And then also, if you tag users in a note, they will also receive an email to say that they've been tagged in a note, and they also can click on the link to open the note, but that note has since been deleted. If we now go back to the file, under emails you will see that that personal folder is there, and under documents the personal folder I've linked to this file is also there. So if you receive emails on a file and the folder is already linked, you can see that folder is empty. But in my inbox, let's say I received this email from the client, I can right click on it, say File, select the file, select the folder, and if I also want to add it to a team folder, let's say Client Correspondence, and I can file it. It gets moved from my inbox to this folder, and if I go to Files, under Emails, the email is there, as well as under Client Correspondence, the email is there. To add new calendar entries or tasks to a file, you can do that from the agenda page, where you can simply select Add Event, select the calendar where the event should be saved in. You can select the date and the time. Let's make it 1 hour. Since it is being created from within the file page, the file is already selected, and you can make it an online meeting. You can add your attendees should you want, and then add event. There's the event. If you click on it, you can show more details, or you can join it online, or you can click on the file reference and it will take you to the file. And if we go to the calendar, you will see that there's the calendar entry, and also the links work the same as under the file's agenda tab. You can edit an event, or if you just want to change the date, you can simply drag and drop it to another date. With the tasks, you can add a task that is your personal task list, or other personal task lists that are created will be listed here, or the team task lists will have the word team in brackets. So let's add a new task in the team task list. So high priority, due date next week, add task. If you click on the task, it will take you to the tasks page. Open the relevant task list, select the relevant task, and from here you can add additional steps. You can also add attachments. Let's say we add that. We can also assign it to another user, and under the description we can say use the template. You will see that the file is automatically selected since we created it from within the files page, but if you create a new task in here, let's use something else. You can link this task to a file, also assign it to a user, add some steps, and add attachments. If we go back to the Files tab, or the Files page, open the file, we can see that all the details are allocated to the file. Once you have invoiced the unbilled amount, you can mark the items as invoiced, change the filter to all, And let's go back in time a bit. And you can add your invoice reference. To each item. We will now quickly look at file containers. If you have one client with several files, for example, you can add a new container. You can add a reference, container name, and you can add a description should you wish. You can create the container, and on the files page you can add this file to a container. So once you go back to the file containers and open the container, you can see the details of the container as well as all the files linked to this container. The last thing to show regarding files is on the dashboard. You will have a block here with your diarized files. All files that are not diarized will remain here, and you cannot mark them as complete or get rid of them, so it's advisable to diarize them. You can select your frequency as well as from when to diarize it. I'm going to diarize it from yesterday for every week, just to show you what happens if files are overdue. It carries over to the next day and it will be in red. It will show you what's the current diary date as well as what is the next diary date. Every user has their own diary for all files, so user A can diarize it for every Monday, user B can diarize it for every Wednesday, depending on their preference. So if you want to work on a file from your dashboard, you can simply click on the file. It will open everything. You can go to documents. I can add a file, and let's say that is the summons. I can double click on it and it will open in Word. I can do my summons, save it, or I can even open it online, especially if you are on a tablet or mobile device, and the changes will be there. That's saved. And if we open it now in Word again, it will be checking for changes, and there's the most recent change. Once I've done my work, I can go back to the dashboard, mark it as complete, and since we all forget to log our fees, it will prompt you whether you have logged your fees. If you haven't, you can simply click on log fees. I drafted the notice, pages, 2 pages, summons, log fee, and it's done. If I go back to the dashboard, I can mark it as complete and I have logged my fees. Now this file is automatically diarized to the next diary date, which will be next week Tuesday, and it will also show you the next diary date thereafter. So whenever there are public holidays, or if you are in court and you don't get to all the files, you don't have to worry, you're not going to miss anything. It carries over to the next day until you mark them as complete.